Have you ever noticed how two people can say exactly the same idea, and yet one is taken more seriously than the other? Picture this for a second. Two individuals, person A and person B, are preparing for an interview. They have exactly the same qualifications, exactly the same experience, and similar backgrounds. However, when person A gives his interview, he is confident. He has communication skills that naturally enhance his resume. When the interviewers ask him questions, he makes mistakes, yes, but his confidence and demeanor outshines the other individual. Now, person B, when he gives his interview, he is naturally hesitant, slow, sometimes even scared and visibly shaking. Person B has exactly the same answers and same ideas as the first one. What he lacks is communication that comes with public speaking. Notice how this simple shift in communication automatically gave person A an edge over person B. This scenario works in the real world as well, and that is where public speaking comes in. But to understand what public speaking actually is, we must first define it. According to an Oxford-style definition, public speaking is the act of delivering a speech or presentation to an audience. This definition, however, leads to many misconceptions. The common stereotype for a speech is standing in front of an audience, a podium in front of you, reading slides, or delivering a written speech. This wrongfully limits the definition of public speaking. If we were to take a more practical and pragmatic approach, public speaking can be defined as communicating with two or more people and delivering a message. This definition broadly defines public speaking. In fact, whether you be a professional, a student, a CEO, or an office worker, I can guarantee that you most probably use public speaking in some form in your day-to-day life. And that only is the start of why public speaking is one of the most important skills for individuals to have. Public speaking embodies situations in which you are communicating with different individuals, delivering your ideas, and trying to convince somebody of your stance. This includes speaking in a job interview, giving a presentation in class, contributing in meetings, or even speaking up in a Zoom call. If you think of it, most communication in the modern world is some form of public speaking. Whether the audience be big or small, whether you be giving one set of ideas or the other, the concept and skills remain exactly the same and just as important. Now the question, however, remains, why does this matter today? Because in the past, your voice was often limited by your immediate surroundings. People often lacked the ability to actionably improve and receive feedback when they were publicly speaking. However, in the 21st century, we live in an attention-seeking world. Employers value good communication skills over most other elements. In fact, a recent LinkedIn survey found out that public speaking and effective communication outranked other fields, including artificial intelligence and use of technology. Pair that with this fact. Glossophobia, or in other words, fear of public speaking, has only continued to steadily increase. This creates a massive gap within our economy and our world. We need, more than ever, individuals who have the ability to communicate actionably, publicly speak effectively, and be able to translate complex ideas into simple and actionable steps. Studies consistently show that those who practice public speaking automatically have an edge over other candidates or individuals. Our society, more than ever, cherishes effective communication skills. This gap is significant. It shows that public speaking creates influence. I know from experience that if you give a speech to an individual and that speech is excellent, it will become immensely difficult for that person to forget you. However, confidence is sometimes hard to get, and that's natural. Even the best speakers in today's world will still feel that small twinge of nervousness, no matter how many speeches they gave. The human mind was naturally designed to seek conformity rather than standing out, and as a result, our body is put in a fight or flight situation whenever we have to deliver a speech. But confidence, however, is a skill that can be gained. Oftentimes, the best speakers aren't those who are born with the skill or who have been practicing speeches since the day they were born, but those who practice. When I was first starting out in public speaking, I would deliver speeches weekly. Towards a small audience, I would speak about whatever I was passionate about, and that is the most important element to improving. Whether you be an introvert or extrovert, improvement in public speaking comes with confidence and practice. Communication was never meant to be built on perfection. It is meant to be mastered through persistence. The greatest speakers we remember, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, they weren't naturally born. They practice. They have the ability to know their audience, improve their skills, and make themselves known throughout history. There are a few practical steps that we can take as individuals to improve our speaking skills. One of the most important elements, obviously, in addition to practice, is maintaining clarity. Your goal is not, in any sense, to sound perfect or to deliver a flawless speech. There is no such thing as the perfect speaker or the perfect communication. But what matters is whether you are willing to get your ideas out there, whether you are willing to take the first step and start your journey. Because public speaking is not merely a skill used by politicians or those who regularly have to speak on a daily basis. It is a soft skill. Whether you be a professional doctor, entrepreneur, a worker, or even a student, public speaking will have a positive impact on your career and life. Because the moment you start improving in public speaking, the moment you take the initiative, rise up, and begin your journey, not with confidence or perfection, but with sheer persistence and passion, I can guarantee that in a few years, with consistent practice and consistent effort, you will have an edge over your peers, your colleagues, and other professionals. Public speaking is something where if you have the best ideas in the world, and yet you are unable to communicate them properly, your ideas may never be heard. But if you can learn to communicate them well, you give those ideas a chance to make change for the better. If you enjoyed this video and feel that public speaking does, in fact, have a positive impact in your social or professional life, feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe at your convenience. Otherwise, have a great day.